Okay, gang, we're just going to go through the second half of the informative slides. They are on a white background. Um, these are just the rest of the slides from the chapter. So, picking up right where we left off, responsibilities. So, um, you need to find credible and relevant information. So, good sources to pass on to your audience. You want to present factually correct information. You don't want to skew things. You want it to be, clearly the facts that your audience needs to know about your topic. You want the facts that you are using to be accessible. So if they do their Google search or they do any of their own due diligence on the topic, that they can find the information that you have presented. You want to make sure the information that you are presenting is digestible. Now, this is very important when you are choosing your topics, when you are figuring out what your main points are. You want to make sure you are picking a topic that you can give enough detailed information about in 5 to 7 minutes. So choosing a topic like the Beatles, that is too large a topic. That's a very big topic to cover in 5 to 7 minutes. You would end up delivering what would amount to really being like a Wikipedia page, because you would just talk about, from one piece to the next piece. First, the Beatles were from Liverpool. The Beatles appeared on Ed Sullivan. The Beatles, it would be very dry and boring. So it's not that you can't do a topic that has something to do with the Beatles, but you may have to narrow it down. The early years of the Beatles, the Beatles formation, the Beatles in first trip to the United States, the Beatles White Album, that can all be, those can each be a 7-minute speech. But you wouldn't want to pick a topic that is so large that you couldn't cover it in 7 minutes. So your speech has to be digestible, and you want to provide useful and relevant data. Now, also when choosing a topic, you need to realize, where can I find my information on this topic? So for example, I once had a student that wanted to present a speech on Uggs. And I thought, well, that's fine. We can certainly present a speech on Uggs, but where are you going to find your information about Uggs? And she said, I'm going to find it at the Uggs website. Well, recognize the purpose of the Uggs website is not to share basic facts about Uggs. The purpose is to sell Uggs. So it is a marketing website. It is a persuasive website. So you have to recognize that the information that you get from those places has a persuasive spin to it. So when you are sharing that information with your audience, you have to make sure they know where you got it. I got this from the Uggs website, so that they know that there's persuasive information. But with that being said, if you want to choose Uggs as your topic, where else are you going to find information? Who else has written about Uggs? Is it possible for there to be other information about Uggs that is not persuasive? So maybe from the Uggs website you may find the history, but maybe you could also look in uh, like business databases to see if there's a business model that Uggs uses that can give you some information, maybe comparing it to other shoe boot businesses, Uggs versus Timberlands, I don't know. But maybe there is other information. If there's not, you're not going to be able to find enough sources about Uggs to meet the criteria for these speeches. So you're going to have, I believe, 4 outside sources for your informative speeches. And if you can only find one, that is not going to meet the demand of the speech. So make sure you're choosing topics that have sources that you can use and are not too large that you end up delivering just a list to us, because lists are pretty boring. Okay, so continuing on. So the principles of your informative speech is, you need to make the facts understandable. You need to explain the relevance. You need to make sure you are clear and you create clarity about your topic. You want to use short, direct sentences, and don't use $5 words. Make sure you are using words that reach your audience. So we are going to talk about audience analysis, but we want to make sure you are conveying information that your audience can understand. So if your audience doesn't know what a curmudgeon is, don't use curmudgeon as a term in your informative speech. Otherwise, you're going to lose them and it's going to confuse them. So then when you have long sound bites, you want to make sure that they are parsed and digestible to your audience. So if you have a ton of research on your first main point, make sure you're presenting it in a way so that your audience can understand that. Now, topic choices, you can choose objects, you can choose events, you can choose people, you can choose process or processes, you can present ideas. Now, I want you to understand with informative speeches, sometimes people think about like cooking demonstrations, a demonstrative speech. A demonstrative speech is an informative speech. It falls out, it's a process, right? Set the oven, preheat the oven, mix the batter, make the cupcakes. That you can put that, and we've all seen cooking shows. That is an informative speech. For this speech, you are not to do a demonstration. I don't want you showing me how to change car oil. I don't want you showing me how to rewire a lamp. I don't want you to demonstrate how to make cupcakes or chocolate chip cookies. Demonstration speeches, although they are informative, so all those little YouTube things that we look up all the time, the how-to, they are not appropriate for this assignment. They are informative, they demonstrate a process, but you cannot do a demonstrative speech for this. You need to inform us about a topic that is either an object, an event, a person, or an idea, not a demonstration. What is the goal of your speech? Are you trying to instill a new idea? So do you need some shock to create interest with your audience? Does your audience, is your audience like underwhelmed with your idea? Do you need to create some excitement around it? Do they have a neutral attitude? You want to deliver your facts in a neutral and logical way, because the goal is not to persuade, the goal is to inform. So you want your audience to be informed on the topic. You do want to address resistance up front. So if there is a counter argument, you want to make sure your audience knows that you are aware, not even a counter, just a counter position on your topic. So, I want to discuss the Browns as a potential Super Bowl contender in the future. Is there resistance to that? Do you have a room full of Steelers fans? Not that they couldn't be informed about the potential for the Cleveland Browns, but they may be listening in a way that they don't necessarily want to hear it. So you want to set the stage that this is just a neutral, informative, data-based presentation. So techniques for informing your audience, you can define topics, you can describe them, you can explain. Often narrative examples are very helpful when you are informing your audience. Relating new topics to topics that they already understand so that they can create that connection is very important, especially if you are the first in time presenting information to them. So the most important things that I want you to understand for making an effective speech are to really keep it simple. Use the formula that we presented at the beginning of the semester. Come up with your main points. Narrow your topic so it's presentable. Use supporting material wisely. Know what you need to plug in there. Choose topics that you already know. Connect your topic to the audience. Why should they listen? Why should they care? What will it provide them? What value is there in your topic? So whether it be about Uggs or the Beatles' White Album, why should they listen to you? Organize to inform your audience and to grab their attention, to captivate them. Why should they pay attention? It doesn't even necessarily have to be a topic that's important to them. Like the Tough Mudder is not an important topic to me, but the speech was delivered in a way that it made me excited or at least pleasantly surprised about the experience of a Tough Mudder. Did it persuade me to ever take part in one? No, 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 no. It was not a persuasive speech. It was just informing me. So, but it did hold my attention because you want your audience to listen from the beginning until the end. And then choose language that will serve that purpose, that will get you there. Please remember in this speech, use the formula, choose a topic that you can cover in 5 to 7 minutes. Make sure you have resources where you can research your topic so you can get that information, and make sure you can present that in a way that holds your audience's attention. So that's really all that this chapter says about informative speeches. You will be watching a number of examples of informative speeches this week, just so that you can start thinking about how it all works and how to recognize the formula in it. All right, I will talk to you soon. Have a great week.